Hello, you're listening to Linguistically Aware, a spoken word program about the ways we use, understand, and think about language. I'm Dusan Nikolic, and today I will not be introducing anyone but myself. Instead, I will be playing to you some music, and today's episode will revolve around the movie The Conversation from 1974, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, a famous director of The Godfather. Of course, this podcast will not be about the movie itself, but the use of language in the movie and a very important aspect of English and many languages around the world that we call stress. Before I get all technical on what stress is and what is not, and before you tune in to my take on this topic, it is essential to acknowledge that this is the CJSW 90.9 FM broadcasting on the traditional territories of all the people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 of southern Alberta. The Conversation is a movie from 1974 directed by Francis Ford Coppola, in which Gene Hackman does a tremendous job of portraying the main protagonist of the movie. And in this movie, which I won't be spoiling for you, the main plot revolves around, of course, the psychological traits of the character, the tormenting feeling that he has or he carries with himself throughout most of the film, and which is reflexive of the 80s and the anxiety of the modern surveillance. But the protagonist is an expert in surveillance, a bond among the surveillance team, I think, as they call him in the movie. But essentially, what this movie portrays is the misunderstanding of the signal of the recording. The emphasis of the sentence, of a crucial sentence, is on us. The movie protagonists say he'd kill us if he has a chance. Well, it is not important really to know who he is or who they are. The importance is on us. He'd kill us if he had a chance, and which means that we need to kill him first in order to avoid being killed, right? So in this movie, this sentence is completely misunderstood, and Gene Hackman hears the emphasis, or the protagonist hears the emphasis on kill, whereby the sides have turned, meaning that, oh no, wait, it's not us that we are in danger, but them that I have been surveilling. And if you see the movie, you'll realize what I'm talking about. But essentially, what the emphasis is when you say he'd kill us if he had a chance, instead of he'd kill us if he had a chance, the emphasis here is what we call stress. This appears to be a sentential stress, or a stress of the sentence. But there is something that we also call word stress, which I'm going to talk about. This seemingly small detail of a language that is used in the movie shows how language is used in real life. And it is true that in English, we use stress all the time.
If you're playing by the rules, it won't get you any further. If you haven't learned this yet, then prepare for troubled waters. They tell us what to do and control our fellow brothers. Stay locked inside that phone and go rejoice with all the suckers.
What this movie brings to surface is the realization that stress is not simply about the intensity or loudness of a certain part of the word. Stress is also about the movement of the pitch, or what we call the fundamental frequency of our voice. Fundamental frequency of the voice is what we hear as pitch. It can be high, as in, for example, or it can be low, as in, You get the difference, and everyone who listens to music knows that, yeah, they can hit a high note or they cannot. It's tough. Or they can hit low notes or not. You kind of feel it and you kind of perceive it or understand it without being explicitly told what this is. And without getting technical on what and how we measure this fundamental frequency that we perceive as pitch, which can be high or low, I just want to say that this property is very important for stress. And one of the misconceptions in the 50s that was shattered in the 60s by the researchers is that in English, it was incorrect to think that stress amounts to a louder pronunciation of the word or syllable. The myth was debunked, basically, when it was shown that perception of stress was also influenced by this fundamental frequency in duration of the vowel. For example, it is quite important to stress or emphasize that stress in English has all three properties, and all the three properties equally play their role, or more or less equally play their role. Speech perception is the process in which sounds of language are heard, interpreted, and understood, but not merely sounds. We hear something that we call suprasegmentals, something that is beyond the sounds of languages, and that is properties such as stress or tone in tone languages, such as Mandarin, for example. Mandarin speakers or listeners do not hear merely sounds such as m, a, e, b, and so on and so forth. They have tones. Tones are primarily composed of vocal vibrations that we call fundamental frequency, or that we perceive as pitch. So the same sequence of sounds, such as ma, can have different meaning in Mandarin. One meaning can be mother, another can be horse, and so on and so forth. This is a famous example of tones, depending on how you produce it or pronounce it. Whether you are high in the tone, such as ma, or whether you are low, such as ma, the meaning is different. And Chinese or Mandarin speakers acquire these as children. English speakers and speakers of many languages, such as Finnish, Hungarian, Polish, Stony Nakoda, for example, they acquire stress as children. Stress is also a property of words. And why is it so? Well, because with stress, we can distinguish or contrast two words. For example, with stress, we can contrast permit and permit, subject, subject, object, object. Object is a noun, object is a verb. Contrast, contrast. Contrast is a noun, contrast is a verb. And this stress is quite unpredictable in English, meaning we are not certain. There is no specific rule that says, okay, stress is always on the first syllable, meaning that the first syllable is the most prominent or emphasized one. But no, that's not the case. In other languages, such as my language, Serbian, stress is quite predictable and not an important property of a word. But in other languages, such as English, or Spanish, stress is unpredictable and a very important property of a word. I mentioned Finnish and Hungarian. For them, stress is important, but it's always on the first syllable. So they are languages with quite what we call predictable stress. We know where it is immediately. And as children who acquire, for example, Finnish and Hungarian, we don't have to attend to this property that we call stress.
My guitar and me, we are proof that something can come out of nothing. And I know we will grow into the everlasting something. Don't give up, we gotta stay strong, we gotta stay focused a little longer. Baby, this will be the one. I've been writing songs since I was 6 years old.
So I've kind of touched upon a very important point. First of all, we saw in the movie, the conversation, that stress can be a property of a sentence. And second, stress can be, and it is most likely, a property of a word in what we call lexical stress languages. And it's a very important property. We linguists study the perception and production of stress, how stress is produced and perceived, and what are those qualities that we hear in speech? What are the signal cues that we hear in speech that give us this indication that this word should be pronounced as contrast and contrast? Quite amazingly, though, I've had students and my professor who I have been TAing for, we had students that do not recognize stress. They cannot tell you which syllable is stressed and which is not. I think a famous word is alligator, whether it's alligator or alligator or alligator, which syllable is stressed? And sometimes they cannot perceive it, but they are perfect in pronouncing this word because they have acquired it as little. And what is it that we are looking at when we are studying stress? Well, the first thing that we're looking at is intensity, duration, and this fundamental frequency. We get the readings of these three properties when we record speech. When we record speech, we analyze it, and the signal gives us these three properties quite clearly with modern technology. It's easy. There are some other phonetic measures that we also like to look at. For example, vowels in stressed syllables have almost even intensity distribution, but vowels in unstressed syllables have lower intensities in higher frequencies. This difference that we call spectral tilt is also a very important feature of distinguishing two types of syllables, whether some syllable is stressed or not. There is another very important property in English of the stressed syllables, and that is the syllables that are preceding the stressed syllables. Most often they are what we call reduced or neutralized. For example, take a word contrast. Contrast has a full vowel such as R, contrast. But this vowel gets reduced when we say contrast. It becomes contrast. It becomes less rounded, more central, and we know that it's not a stressed syllable anymore, because no vowel that is reduced in English can be stressed syllable. In other languages, this might not exist, meaning that stressed syllables can be not reduced necessarily, but there is no vowel reduction before the stressed syllables. In Stony Nakoda, there are some words that we are finding that which are contrasted just by saying, for example, yeka and yeka. Just by stressing differently the word, and all that changes the meaning completely. These words are very important for elders, and we have been asked to record them and to properly annotate them as different words.
Radio sam svašta i živeo bih opet. Tu boemsku priču bahanalije bez kraja, sa ulice ka vrhu, putokaz do raja. Sa druge strane sediš, duboko pogledam i svaku moju reč
tvoj mozak ubija. A ti, ista ko druge, a ti, ista ko druge. Stotinu priča tvojih, nisu redne ko jedna od mojih. Ni stotinu priča tvojih, nisu redne ko jedna od mojih. Slovima te vodim u beskraj putovanja, kroz moju priču živiš i linija je tanja. Linija je crta što živote razdvaja, ja nestalan sam lika ti tako obično. Mrtav si kad gubiš sjaj u očima, u tvojima se vidi ja refleksija. A ti, ista ko druge, a ti, ista ko druge. Ni stotinu priča tvojih, nisu redne ko jedna od mojih. Ni stotinu priča tvojih, nisu redne ko jedna od mojih. Ni stotinu priča tvojih, nisu redne ko jedna od mojih. Ni stotinu priča tvojih, nisu redne ko jedna od mojih.
There are many languages, such as Spanish, whereby, for example, I believe that bebé means baby, and bebé means to drink. And I'm not an expert in Spanish, but many Spanish speakers will tell you more about these contrastive words and sounds, words that are contrasted only by the placement of stress. So stress is quite important, and we always make this pun that is not really funny after a while. I want to stress how stress is important, or something like that. It's after a while it gets really dorky a little bit. So I hope that throughout this podcast you've learned more about stress and what it means. So first of all, we use it in everyday English. Many languages across the world use it as well. Secondly, it's used in the movie The Conversation, and it's quite neatly used for triggering the whole plot of the movie. I recommend that you watch this movie. I recommend that you listen very carefully to the soundtrack and to the track in the background of certain scenes, as this is the main point of the surveillance. And I also recommend that you think about this movie more closely, because it was the movie that won Cannes Movie Festival, and it lost an Academy Award to the movie Godfather 2, which was also directed by Francis Ford Coppola. An interesting detail is that Francis Ford Coppola actually lost to himself, and that's a very interesting detail in the Academy Award history. Thank you very much for listening, and for the upcoming monthly episodes of Linguistically Aware on CJSW 90.9, visit the cjsw.com/program/linguistically-aware. My name is Dušan Nikolić, and I'm the host of this wonderful podcast. If you want to contact me, visit DUSANNIKOLIC linguistically.com. Have a great day and stay with CGSW. You know you're in the best place you could be.